like you kind of touched on it, but like Toxic Revolver like blew up,
Hmm.
like shortly after you put it out, and kind of like has continued to do well and still one of the top songs.
Hmm.
After you put out a song that goes viral the way that that one did, is it hard to not like if you have a song that doesn't do quite the same after that? Is that a difficult navigation to like be like I'm still proud of this even though like
Oh,
the
yeah.
the likes and the numbers
Hmm.
aren't behind it?
Yeah, that's something that I've really recently have tried to get over is focusing on just releasing stuff that I'm proud of and that I know is good rather than just always trying to get more likes than the last thing that I like posted, especially for content. That's something I've struggled with lately. But back then, Pretty Toxic Revolver was like this shadow just like hanging over my catalog. Whereas like South on 95 was the first song that ever got more streams than Pretty Toxic Revolver in a single day. And I was so happy when like I saw the that South of 95 had did more that day because I was like, okay, finally I can start like moving on to making like having people see like my bigger songs as my actual best music. So yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how that was a good segue because I was actually going to mention that was the song Southland 95 was how I found your music. I think it
Hmm.
was when you were first starting or maybe like had gone back to making like a new set of content, I guess, for the
Hmm.
the project that you were creating with these songs for South on 95.
Hmm.
And I think I don't know if because I'd already seen Party a couple of times, but I saw that you like I think you were wearing like a party hoodie in the video you made for it, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" And then like heard the song, I was like, "Oh shit, this is like really good."
Hmm. Yeah, that song is way. I didn't realize how good that song was until like after I think I dropped it. Even I was like, this is like looking back on it now when I listen to like my songs, it's hard for me to really tell which ones are gonna be the ones that are gonna be big. And that one, I really had no idea how well that was gonna do. And I dropped it as an interlude for Zenith, knowing I was gonna drop Zenith, but it didn't come out till like 8 months after. Like the Zenith that I had when I dropped South on 95 is completely different than the one that ended up actually being released.
And I mean, maybe at the end of the day, that's what because you have like doing music and everything on there then before.
I had a verse written for Dear Music that I ended up taking off of Dear Music. So not really
Not
even
really, it
that.
was a different song. It
Yeah.
was an
Yeah, it
idea,
was
but
a whole
yeah.
different thing. But I did have a song called Dear Music with a different beat and a different verse. And that verse made it onto the actual drop of Dear Music. And then, yeah. Well, no, yeah, that verse didn't go on to the final one. So,
Final version.
yeah,
Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. You write some
cool
stuff,
process, I
change some
think.
stuff.
But yeah.
Yeah. So you were working on that project for quite a while then, I'm guessing. Just
Oh,
from Southbound 95 came out in like last year, like fall last year, maybe summer last year.
I couldn't even
Yeah, I don't
guess. Yeah, I have no idea.
know. Something, I don't know.
Yeah, I do know that the what was it? Zenith was my first album in 4 years. So I was really thinking through that project because I wanted it to kind of be like if I was, because at the time I can't really keep pushing myself as an artist with the songs that I have out. I felt like I had a lot of, like a couple good songs, but like my catalog, like my back catalog wasn't really doing it. So I really focused on having an album that people can go to after I drop like new music to like hear something like more strong, I think. So,
Yeah, and I feel like from that kind of went into dropping Home and like the promotion that
mhm.
went with that. Was that kind of edging off of that and trying to just because I feel like that was when I saw like even more so like a lot of videos you were making, a lot more
Mm.
content pushing. Was that kind of
Yeah.
that same?
Um, Home was definitely tough for me to figure out how to market. I mean, well, it was like easy to know.
I
Like
was
I
gonna
knew
say,
how
I
I
feel
was gonna
like,
market. Like
yeah.
it markets very easily, but the problem was that it was so different from the music that I had been dropping that
Hmm.
I was very worried people were gonna find Home and then go to listen to my catalog and then be like, this is nothing like that song they just heard. So that was a big struggle with Home. But I'd already worked on Zenith for so long that I was like, I'm not dropping this. So that was kind of what I figured there.
No, that's understandable too. Do you feel like, because I feel like some artists go about this differently than others, but do you feel like you want to have like a noble sound that like when someone hears a song, they're like, oh yeah, this sounds like his stuff, or are you more like whatever you feel like making that day, that's what you're gonna make?
I've definitely, I think I started with, like, even if I take it back like a year ago, I had different sounds, like a folk style, like a sad like style of rap, or like a more like hyped sound. And I think over the last year, those have all started to kind of combine into one sound, especially with stuff that I'm working on like right now. It's definitely more of like a sound that feels a lot more unique to me. But yeah, that's about how that answer would go.
Yeah. What? How do you feel like you went about where you feel like this new stuff that you're creating right now is like your sound now? Do you feel like there was something that you did that brought you to this point where it's your sound, or was it just like the reps that you feel like?
I really just experimented a lot more with just developing, I think, like unique like styles that I would carry over to other songs. So at least, I mean, it's kind of hard to reference because you haven't heard like most of it, other than I guess you heard Sunsets because you were at my show.
Oh.
So that is like a style that I think is more what I'm doing right now, where it's a little bit less like just a guitar and then like a vocal over it. I'm trying to really dive deeper into just making a sound that sounds like more full and like original, I think. And that's came in a lot of ways of being able to kind of hop from, oh, I'm going to sing here and do like something soft, and then I'm going to jump right into like a harder verse. And that's been a lot of fun to like work with.
Yeah. Kind of going off of your first show, what was that day like for you? You know, this is like your first time doing a big crowd. You know, lots of people were. I mean, it was
Oh,
packed.
that's huge. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty unreal. That was amazing because that was my first time performing at all. Like I've never even like when I record, like sometimes I'll have my friends over and we'll like mess around in my studio, and even when I like go to do like my verse or something, I still feel like weird singing in front of people. So that was like just jumping right into it, and that was amazing. I prepared a lot for that show. I had my all my stuff set up at my friend's house who like has his own house, so I didn't have to worry about being loud or anything, and I would just run through my set multiple times. And yeah, that day I could bear it felt like I was like a kid on Christmas. I could not fall asleep the night before. I was so excited. I had my like whole fit figured out. I remember showing up, and then we were supposed to have 30 minutes each for all the openers at sound check, and something happened with the sound guy, and then all of a sudden we got like a text. I was like, okay, Party gets 30 minutes, John gets 30 minutes, and then the openers get like 2. So I was able to run through half of at 19 before I went on. Other than that, I had no idea what anything was going to sound like, and I was so stressed and like a little like pissed off because I was like, this sucks. You guys are just going to throw me on stage and I have no idea like what I'm doing. And
Well,
then
I know artists changed because wasn't JG was going to to perform at
yeah,
some point, and then
yeah,
they changed it. But
I wish he would have, but he had some
yeah,
stuff going on and he couldn't, which sucked. But
yeah,
we and him even like ran through our sets like at my house before. And that day it's like we got there and then the DJ asked if like we wanted to have like vocal effects on our like, and I was like, yeah, like I don't want to just go raw like into a microphone, like that's gonna not sound right at all. So then I had to use my computer and then my interface that I use to just record my songs, and I had to go on FL, which is the worst like software to use for performing live. And like I had to run Species Set from my laptop, and I had to mix all of his vocals, basically just guessing what it should sound like based on what like the information he was giving me. And then I had to run my vocals through my computer as well. which was definitely scary. And there was some things messed up with my vocals, like that I found out later when I was like looking through my project file. And I was like, that sucks, because there was no way for me to really fix it when I was already on stage. So,
Yeah.
but
I think you handled it well, though. To be stressed out about it, I mean, I think that goes into preparation. I think a lot of people think that as an artist, you like, you get a show, you already know your songs, so you just go up and you perform your songs, and that's not how it works
no,
at all.
no, no. I remember I told myself, I was like, I remember that Joe Burrow like interview once I saw it, and they're like, "Oh, how are you so confident?" He's like, "Confidence is in preparation," and that's all I did was just prepare for every scenario, basically, and it was a good thing because I had to really use all the things I prepared for. So